Hello everyone, MUFS here to welcome you to the 98th episode of Starfield. In the last episode we did the serpent's path. Babe, why are you looking at me like that? So today we are going to go up there. Babe, let's go. To talk to Motherboard. Let's do that over here, right? Let's turn off the flashlight. Credits. Oh, let's come on, legendary. I'll have to take it. Sharpened wakizashi. Okay, let's take these. Babe, let's go. Morning ship cockpit. Let's go, babe.
Did you need something?
Yeah.
Welcome, Harbinger.
Harbinger.
You stand before what remains of the High Council, advisors to Nasko Varun. We are all that is left after the disaster that has befallen our people. I represent House Dulkef. Jamal is from House Kadik, and we are joined by Lovek of House Vital.
Okay.
We are, all of us, hopeful that your arrival in Dazra and your clear connection to Nasko Varun, for the first time in weeks, represent some semblance of hope.
What's with all the houses? Aren't you all House Varun?
Collectively, we unite under the banner of House Varun, pledged to follow Jinan Varun and his descendants. But our society is not a monolith. Jinan, in his wisdom, shepherded the first of us into families that we might grow and prosper. Our three families have for generations now helped to govern the people of House Varun, and offer counsel to our leader.
Someone needs to start explaining what's going on.
I understand. Until you were one of us, we could not trust you.
Uh-huh.
By all means, Motherboard. I can't wait to see how you spend this.
Please, can we just for a moment...
Can we just for a moment what? Discuss whether or not to allow the first convert to House Varun since before any of us were born? A bit late on that, it seems.
You were not there. You did not see Nasko. It felt different. We have already wasted so much time...
You're correct. I was not there. Because you elected to travel to the spaceport on your own. And then decided this on your own.
Do not waste time with more bickering. Nasko, and by extension House Varun, suffers with every passing moment.
Of course, Lovek. My apologies. Please, Motherboard, do go on.
Nasko Varun, like his father before him, has relied on the teachings of Jinan to guide us.
Okay.
Nasko wondered if perhaps it was time to seek guidance directly from the Great Serpent, and so sought a means of reaching out.
Perhaps he found the teachings inadequate.
Careful, Kadik. You tread on dangerous ground.
I mean nothing by it. We simply were never consulted on the matter and do not know the full motive.
The point is that a series of experiments have taken place over the years, utilizing grav drive technology to hopefully make direct contact with the Great Serpent, similar to Jinan Varun's initial meeting.
And then something went wrong.
We do not know what happened. We were not inside the Scaled Citadel at the time.
Had we been? we wouldn't be standing here now. We'd be like the rest of them.
A great tide of energy emanated from the scaled citadel and swept across Dasra. Much was destroyed in its wake. Those caught
That's
in
my
the
girl.
blast have been left in a state of confusion, trapped halfway between our universe and the vortex. The citadel itself remains in such a state. Right there and yet beyond our reach. We can only assume that the experiment is still running, somehow preventing us from entering the citadel.
And you want me to
We
stop
cannot
it?
get in, so we cannot stop it. We're beginning to lose hope before you arrived.
The vortex. What is that?
Forgive me, I am no scientist, but as it has been explained to me, what we call the vortex is the space between universes.
Okay. How long ago did this happen?
It has only been a few weeks.
Huh?
There had been efforts to put together some kind of response, some plan. But they had fallen apart.
Tell me how I fit into this.
Your arrival and your interaction with Anasco shows that he can still be saved. The plan had been devised to access the Citadel, but the work stalled. Clearly, it is time to move forward with it. The current head of our science team, Ekris, should be in Jinan Plaza down below us, towards the Citadel. Tell him about your experience with Anasco, and that work on the morning device must proceed.
Okay. So,
Good to see you.
how long have you been on the High Council?
Not long, though it feels like an eternity. Jamal and I had only been a part of the council for maybe a year before all this, and we were only ever in subordinate roles. It has been quite a challenge to accept this new level of responsibility. Dovek, on the other hand, has served on the council for quite a long time. He rarely lets us forget it.
What exactly does your High Council do?
Any decision about House Varun is the Speaker's to make. But Jinan Varun, in his wisdom, saw fit to create the High Council to help advise those decisions. We offer perspectives and opinions that can often contradict one another, which can ultimately help the Speaker to guide our people. Or, at least that is how it was before all this. Now, with the Speaker gone, we have temporarily taken over making decisions in his stead. Once this is all behind us, we can restore the intended order of things.
What separates you from the zealots all over the settled system?
That depends a great deal on who you ask. Generations ago, we made a decision to pull back from the settled systems. Some amongst us saw that as a mistake, an abandonment of House Varun's true calling. The schism within our people grew until some took it upon themselves to leave and declare themselves the true descendants of Jinan Varun. They are, of course, factually wrong and incredibly misguided.
Tell me more about Anasco Varun.
He has led House Varun since the death of his father Jarek. He's determined to return House Varun to glory. He believed he was on the cusp of realizing that goal, and now, well, you have seen him. I should perhaps not speak too much of it, but there has been concern that he was lost to us. Your interaction with him gives me hope. If you can hear him, he is not beyond rescue.
Hello, love.
Hello, love. Let me talk to them, then I have these
You would
things
speak
to...
with me?
Yes?
Come on. I want to talk to you. Jimal Kadik.
Good to see you.
So the How Council runs the houses under Varun?
No, it's complicated.
Then uncomplicated?
Jinan Varun himself established the rules. Let me see if I can make it easy for you.
Sure.
The Speaker has supreme authority, He is the voice of the Great Serpent. The houses each handle some function of daily life and are individually run by the elder of the house. Each of the houses also appoints a mediary to the High Council to inform and advise the speaker. It's a separate position from the elder, with a lesser degree of authority and prestige.
Have you ever thought about changing the system?
Now is hardly the time to be entertaining such thoughts.
Got it? Makes sense.
So you must have a head for politics. Or you're good at pretending. Either way, you will fit right in here.
You seemed unhappy I was allowed to become part of House Varun.
Don't take it personally.
Okay.
We have been through so much these last few weeks. The Council is attempting to claw back some semblance of order from the chaos, steer things past this somehow. And then Motherboard goes and throws you into the middle of all this without even consulting us. It's just one more breach of a protocol that barely exists anymore. I am over it, I assure you. It is good to have you with us, and we are finally moving forward.
Don't worry, my dear. I'm the protagonist over here, and I'm gonna help you get out of these problems.
Harbinger.
Sir, Lovek Vital,
Yes? Did you require something?
where were you when the experiment went wrong?
I was outside the city, visiting a friend at his farm. We saw the flash of light from inside, and by the time we made it outside, you know, in that moment, I worried it was my fault. That I had somehow not been faithful enough, that I had not believed. I still find myself worrying that we are being punished, that we have affronted the Great Serpent in some way, and that this is our penance.
Okay. Did you know Sirag Vital?
Indeed, Serac was my cousin. I know they were assigned to the Oracle, and Malabor relayed their final report sent by the station. They walk with the Great Serpent now.
Can you tell me more about Sirag?
Serac was a respected scientist dedicated to the Great Serpent. They spent every moment engrossed in their work, a true testament of faith. It was their greatest honor to be selected for the Oracle.
What will become of the Oracle now?
The Oracle's fate will be tabled for a future discussion. We have more important issues at hand.
How many people were stationed on the Oracle?
87 souls reside with the Great Serpent now.
87?
Many were some of the finest scientific minds House Varun had to offer.
Damn.
They will be remembered alongside those we lost here in Dasra.
I have some other questions.
Of course.
What was Dasra like before the experiment?
It was breathtaking. A true testament to the will of Jinan Varun and our faith in the Great Serpent. To have started from nothing and to have accomplished so much. I pray to the Serpent that we can someday reclaim all that we have lost.
Okay, thank you, sir.
May the Great Serpent bless you.
Sure, I'll take this one. Report, Ministry of State. As per the Council's request and assessment of Ministry of State operations, Ministry operations temporarily transferred to Cape in light of loss of both halls of authority and House Vital's residence. Military/security personnel recalled from many non-critical operations outside the city in order to bolster coverage for Dasra. Ongoing threat assessment of phantom phenomenon, tactics being adjusted to compensate, additional security measures enacted in key locations as necessary, significant operations underway to reassure public that the incident was isolated and they will be safe, increase noted in public display of opposition and defiance, increase noted in public displays of opposition and defiance. Agitators have been detained and or removed as necessary. Come on. There were two. Funding notice. Let's Herald Inanza has brought to my attention a disturbing matter. There has been discussion of eliminating the funding to maintain and preserve the Serpent's Path in the latest proposed budget. I find this surprising, given the paltry amount requested and the significance of the location. It should be enough that the cave is the key piece of our shared heritage. Were it were it not for those caves, none of us would be here today. But if all goes to plan in the coming months, we may be able to thank the Great Serpent himself for a new wave of recruits to our cause. The Serpent's Path may yet again be needed for its original purpose. I am confident that the Council will make the right decision, and if the funding cannot be secured, I would be more than happy to personally take a closer look at the budget to see what areas might be trimmed in order to free up funds. Anasco. Report post-incident status. As per the Council's request, an assessment of House Varun's operations in the aftermath of the Citadel incident follows. All structures in the immediate vicinity of the scaled citadel are gone, including the halls of authority. All major ministry operations have relocated and are operating off-record backups and emergency supplies/funding. Administrative personnel losses are still being totaled. Most key figures were present in the citadel at the time of incident and are presumed missing or dead. Science team hit hardest, notable exception of Ekris Kaiser on leave. Military and security forces heavily affected. Minimal personnel presence is being maintained within Dazra, with personnel being reassigned from outlying areas. Rumors of mass desertions are being actively countered. Supply chain disruptions have drained already low reserves. Ministry of Commerce is attempting to compensate by establishing new connections, but time delay will exacerbate already low stockpiles. What else do I have? Report Ministry of Conjunction. As per Council's request, an assessment of Ministry of Conjunction operations. Ministry operations temporarily transferred to House Caddick housing, which remained unaffected by the incident. Intelligence networks have been disrupted following the Citadel incident, as key personnel have been reassigned to urgent matters in Dazra. No anomalous reports have arrived from agents in the field. There is no indication that word of recent events has reached anyone off-world. One outside contact remains within Dazra following the incident, as instructed by the Council. Usual protocols have been suspended and he will be allowed to leave. That's me, I believe. Contact has still not been regained with the Oracle, last seen within geosynchronous orbit above Dazra. So that wasn't me, because the contact still has not been regained with Oracle by the report. Anything else I should look into? I believe that's all. Babe, love, my love, let's go. Let's go, my love. Dazra City.
Do you know the scientists out at Hamadi Station?
The old married couple? Azad and Shireen, if I remember right. I've met them a few times. They seemed a little eccentric, but were otherwise quite nice.
That's them, yes. They're apparently looking for some help with their research. They made some kind of discovery that has them troubled.
Good luck finding help at a time like this.
I believe
Indeed.
I'll get
Yet
a
the
mission.
serpent provides for the faithful, so who knows?
Nothing is truly impossible.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so
I am not sure what to make of you.
I don't know myself as well.
Just
Let me
complaining
check
about
the
there being
map.
nothing to do.
Wow, that looks so cool, right? Let's see. This is something over here, is some kind of bridge or something. Don't tell me that's the citadel. Okay. Halls of healing, alteration clinic, meat house, Varun dispository, vacant house, goods exchange, Herald's rest. That's my ship. And this is the ship I was in. Keep Armory, Wayshare of Redemption. Nothing about you. I was most curious about you, man. Come on. Okay. But it looks so good. Okay. I'll have to go over here. Let's see.
At home.
No, you're the one that wanted to play.
Okay.
Yeah, because you wouldn't stop complaining.
There's a security.
This is unreal. The view of the citadel from this plaza was never so clear. So many buildings used to be in the way.
It is morbid, disgusting. You should be hanging your head in shame. But instead, here you are, acting like a common fool.
Borhal, calm down. Do not do this here.
How shameful of you to have these outbursts. Oh my, what would poor mother and father think?
You will speak not of mother and father, you sloughing bastard. No shame. No shame at all. What a waste of good life that they worked tirelessly to give you.
Mother and father spat on the ground I walked on. You were their pride and joy. Oh, good, generous Borhal, always the paragon, the keeper of our family name.
I am disgusted to call you brother. It would be best for all of us if by some miracle you were to drown in one of those bottles of Koza you are so infatuated with.
Ugh, with a brother like you, is it any wonder I am driven to drink?
Sure.
Are
Finish?
you done? Both of you.
Exactly, that
Will
would-
you calm down?
You should be addressing the brute here. He is the one making the scene.
I am causing a scene because you tried to sell Mother's urn, with Mother still in it.
I was not thinking. It was a mistake.
Why
That is
would-
precisely the sloughing problem, Amila. You are never thinking. You are too much of a drunken fool to think. Apparently you are not even above selling the remains of dear mother to fund your habit.
It was a mistake. And you are going
What
to
kind of
condemn me for the
mistake?
rest of my life over a mistake?
I would.
Perhaps I should.
I would. Okay.
Do you
Great
truly have
serpent
no
keep
shame,
you.
Amila? No shame at all.
Goods exchange.
What you have done goes beyond disgraceful.
Hey.
It is morbid.
Let's go.
Disgusting.
I wanted to
You
see
should be
this
hanging your head
statue
in
over
shame.
here.
But instead,
That
here
is
you
so
are,
good.
acting like a con-
Never in his worst nightmares could I imagine Jinan Barun saw a future like this.
Yeah, babe.
The things they
Sir.
expect me to accomplish.
Ekriska is here, sir.
Well, look who it is.
It is MUFS.
You have made quite a stir. and given the state of things, that is a singular accomplishment.
Thank you, sir.
To what do I owe the honor, Harbinger?
What's going on here?
At the moment, obviously a great deal of nothing. Have the High Council to thank for that. Politics and expedience rarely pair well.
Motherboard says work on the morning device must proceed.
Did he now? How magnanimous. But approval is approval, and I will gladly take it. I will spare you much of the technical detail, as I confess that pieces of it I barely understand myself. One cannot help but notice the energy field around the scaled citadel. Until we can get through it, we cannot shut down the experiment inside, and it has proved quite impossible to get through. We had the beginnings of a plan to build a makeshift contraption to redirect grav drive energy to see if we could penetrate the barrier, but the project came to a halt. Politics got in the way.
Okay.
I can imagine that without the speaker to issue clear directions, things have been difficult.
Every one of the houses needs to contribute, and every one realized they could potentially use it for leverage. What should have been a cooperative effort turned contentious. Easy decisions became negotiations.
Uh-oh.
And so, construction never began. We have sat here, staring at this disaster as supplies pile up for well over a week now. Serpent help us, it is infuriating.
Why do you need the council's approval?
The council just so happens to represent the three houses under Varun's banner, who are also entrusted with various aspects of running, well, everything. Each of those houses needs to contribute something to the project, so the council is the final stopgap. Were the speaker here, he could bypass all of it with a wave of his hand, but, well, you have already seen the state he's in.
No use complaining about the past. Time to move forward.
Indeed. All must serve. I believe I've done enough complaining for now. Time to get to work.
Sure.
If you're here, the council has likely sent word to the houses that it's time to stop the infighting. I doubt it will be enough. I need to oversee construction here, make sure things are built to specifications. If you could follow up with the houses, that may speed up the process.
Okay. What do you want me to do? I doubt they'll listen to me.
The first convert in generations. The only one to have heard from the speaker since the disaster. Oh, I think they will listen. House Fetal owes us access codes for the city power grid. It's the only way to guarantee enough power to activate the device. House Kadik was supposed to provide a young scientist named Sahima to help me. She had at least some experience with the original Citadel experiment. No idea why they refused to send her. And Hasmek, the new elder of House Dulkef, he has been distant, guarded. He claims to have vital information about an important component of the experiment, but has withheld it until now. Help me get what we need, and we will see what we can do for the speaker, and for House Varun. And I may have something that can help you in whatever trials the Serpent puts before you as we navigate this. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex, fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this.
Fascinating isn't the word I would use to describe it.
I know. I have lost friends and colleagues myself. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe.
Okay.
These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the morning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications.
Okay. Unproven technology against enemies from outside our universe sounds like a great plan.
I do hope you are not questioning the thoroughness of my research. I assure you, they will work. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice, if you have the materials. And, depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage.
How have things been affected by the disaster?
Just look around. I'm sure you have at least some idea of how much we have physically lost. A huge portion of the city is just gone. And those left behind are struggling. Supplies are limited. There is so much work to be done, and we are all just so tired. I hope that eventually we can return things to the way they were, but we must be realistic. That will take time, and I suspect a great deal of it.
What do you know about the experiment in the Citadel?
Not enough to have prevented it from happening. If I had any idea it was going to turn out like this, It had been Inasco's primary goal for some time. A way to recreate Jinan Varun's encounter with the Great Serpent. Everything we knew about grav drive technology, every scientific advancement we'd made in the last 100 years was poured into it. Towards the end, I was just so exhausted. I asked for a brief time off. Had I not, I would be trapped in there with the rest of the science team.
Perhaps the Great Serpent had other plans for you.
Yes, I am sure that is how some would see it. I left the project weeks before the disaster, and at that point, we were nowhere near ready. Some breakthroughs were made shortly thereafter, and they ran the experiment. And here we are.
If you've got something that can help me, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, depending on how much trouble you're getting into. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this.
If it's not something that will help me get rid of the phantoms, I don't care about it.
Well, then you are in luck. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy.
I have them.
Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe. These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the morning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications.
You had me at explosive mixture.
Well, then allow me to provide you with a few starting samples. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice if you have the materials. And depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage.
Sure. Now I have 3 places: Assist House Kadik, Assist House Vital, Assist House Dulkev. We have time, right? Is this the nearest? That is saying, come on, 48 meter. Okay, let's go over there, Kadik, because it is asking me to go there.
House Kadik seems to have remained largely unscathed. How fortunate for them.
Sure, babe. Let me have a look over here. Wow.
And your scan shows...
My scan shows that we should go back down, but you know me, I love to... Oh, that reminds me, I have to get the vehicle, right? I don't have the vehicle with me. I could have had that one. Let's get inside and talk to these guys.
Brother.
Brother.
You can't be serious granting them an audience. This is exactly the impression we don't want to give.
Please, Jamal. Don't you see how all this works in our favor? It's not up for discussion. I won't risk what we've worked so hard to achieve. It's done.
No, you'd risk our future and reputation as a house. But you are the chosen elder.
Don't patronize me. The Great Serpent spared our house. We are favored here. And shouldn't you get back to the council? We can't afford to be absent at a time like this.
I guarantee I'm not missing much. But you're right. I'll be heading back soon enough. Something I can do for you?
Not really. Razma Kadik.
So, Ekris has sent our newest harbinger to inquire about Sahima.
Yes.
Don't worry. Jamal's already told me all about you. I'm Razma, elder of House Kadik and head of the Ministry of Conjunction.
What can you tell me about House Kadik?
House Kadik is one of the 3 noble houses under House Varun. We've a reputation on being the more moderate of the 3. Not as fervent as House Vithal, and not as passive as House Dulkev. We're also largely associated with the Ministry of Conjunction. since I lead the department.
She sounds like I'll let you know on the screen. Oh, come on. Come on. What is the Ministry of Conjunction?
The Ministry of Conjunction is one of the 3 government branches of our society. We deal in information to ensure the High Council can make educated decisions. Most of our work is highly classified. Even the High Council itself may not be aware of all that we're involved in.
She sounds like the Ryujin woman, remember? It's an honor to meet the elder of a noble house.
Well, it's also an honor to meet one as interesting as yourself. I wouldn't have suspected an outsider to be made promised. But who am I to argue with the Great Serpent's choice?
Yeah, when the snake talks, you listen. We need Sahima to help recalibrate the mourning device.
I know the Council is looking to Sahima for answers. But the truth is, she's been taken, along with other members of the House.
Where?
They're being held hostage by zealots. And now they're demanding negotiations.
This is a major overreach. I have never known the zealots to be so bold.
Yeah. Why not just tell the High Council?
Because right now, this situation is a matter for the Ministry of Conjunction. As much as the Council thinks it's their business, it's not. At least not yet. They want Sahima, and we're trying to produce her.
How were the Zilars able to kidnap your people in the first place?
What happened to Dazra was a cataclysmic event. The city may seem in order now, but those first few days, it was chaos. And the zealots took advantage.
Negotiations are my specialty.
As much as I'd welcome the expertise, the zealots would never allow an outsider to participate.
But I'm an
But the
insider now.
negotiations aren't where I need assistance. The zealots have yet to name specifics. At best, they'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council or even the reinstatement of their house. House Maleen. They know we can't risk Sahima for Dazra's sake. So, they won't hold back when it comes to demands.
The Zilars have a house?
They had a house. House Maleen was abandoned a long time ago. But there are some who'd want to see it reinstated.
What can you tell me about House Maleen?
House Maleen was fully dedicated to Jandar Varun. They objected when his brother Jarek was chosen to take over as leader. They knew he would bring an end to the Serpent's Crusade. It's why they abandoned their house and became the zealots you know today, to continue what they believe is Jinan and Jandar's work.
Who's Jandar?
Jinan Varun had twin sons, Jarek and Jandar. Jandar fully supported the Serpent's Crusade, and to many in House Maleen, was the best suited to take over for his father.
Whew. If I can get to the hostages first, the Zilars will have no leverage.
Aha. My thoughts exactly. Normally I'd have agents doing everything possible to find them. But we too suffered losses. We need to be here. Present. I couldn't risk more lives. It's the only reason I even agreed to these negotiations. But now that you're here, I can finally take action.
Isn't risking the lives of a few agents worth it to save the many?
Of course. But the negotiations offered a chance to get Sahima and the others back without putting lives at risk. I saw the chance and had to take it. As demanding as I'd expected the Zealots to be, I fully intended to do everything in my power to bring them within reason.
I'll bring Sahima and the hostages home. No negotiations needed.
And that's where the issue lies. I don't know where the Zealots are keeping Sahima, but I have a good idea who does. Their name is Merrick. Merrick is a Kadik, and they also work for me as an agent in the Ministry of Conjunction. This is where matters get complicated.
Then uncomplicate it. If Mirek knows, how come you haven't forced them to tell you?
Once I made the decision to go through with the negotiations, it wasn't necessary. Now that the situation has changed, well, that's going to be your job now.
I hope you aren't being lenient because Mirek is related to you.
It's not the family name that complicates matters here. As I said, Merrick works for me in the Ministry of Conjunction. They've been establishing an inside relationship with the Zealots for some time now, on my orders. Forcing them to give up the information could jeopardize all they've worked for. So don't expect them to be forthcoming. Get the information any way you see fit, as long as no physical harm comes to them.
Understood.
Okay. Any tips on getting through, Mirek?
Merrick is proud of what they've accomplished, so I doubt they'll give up information easily. If being persuasive isn't your strong suit, perhaps appealing to their substantial ego may help. If you can stomach it. Just don't be direct. I'm sure it would put them on the defensive. Either that, or make them completely unwilling to talk.
You're establishing a relationship with the Zealots.
What better way to surveil a threat? It's important for us to know what the Zealots may be targeting, to stay one step ahead.
Zealots took your people. How can you remain so calm?
The people of Dazra look to us elders for strength and guidance. We cannot fail them at a time like this. Don't let my composure fool you, promised? It's neither easy nor something I take lightly.
Why would giving the location jeopardize Mirek's work?
The Zealots don't trust easily. If their location was discovered, Merrick would most likely be the first they'd suspect. They'd never trust them or any agent of House Kadik again.
I'll return once I've learned the location.
See that you do. You'll find Merrick upstairs in the meditation room.
Somehow I don't like this woman. My gut feelings says...
Something I can do for you?
Mirek?
You're no member of House Kadik. What are you doing here?
I may not be House Kadik, but I'm the only one here that's communicating with Anasko Varun.
Oh, so you're the heretic turned harbinger who thinks they're one of us now. So tell me, what would a chosen one such as yourself want with someone like me?
think you know.
Oh, I certainly don't. I may have many talents, but mind reading isn't one of them.
Rasma said you know, so out with it. All must serve and all that.
After all I've done. I guess this means the High Council is still asking Auntie Rasma where Sahima is. And if you're here making demands, she obviously has decided to make use of you rather than undergo sincere negotiations. I see what's going on here.
Very perspective. I can see why Rasma is so impressed with you.
Well, I am one of the few to garner any amount of trust with the Zealots, so she should be. I can't imagine where the Ministry of Conjunction would be without me.
Exactly. And at such a young age too, she must consider you a prodigy.
I do have a natural talent. It's nice to see I'm being properly recognized. I may excel in my skills, but it doesn't mean the hours I put in are any less.
Of course not. Good work takes time, no matter how talented you are.
Exactly. There's still research, analysis, documentation. Too much documentation, if you ask me. But altogether, I have the exact talents needed to do this job, which is why I was entrusted with the Zealots in the first place. I admit it hasn't always been easy. They are Zealots, you know.
So it doesn't all come so easily for you?
The work, the strategies, that's all child's play for me. But being with the Zealots is a different story. Of course, it's gotten easier as I've gotten to know them, but it's a mental challenge whenever a new face is introduced.
Wouldn't a zealot attack on sight? How do you get close to them?
I see you're familiar with standard Zealot tactics, but it's really all about crafting the perfect scenario to encounter the right one. You don't just waltz up and say hello. It takes a great deal of surveillance and profiling to determine the right approach.
I can't imagine how hard it must have been to earn the zealot's trust.
You have no idea. I can't even tell you how much time and effort it's been to sway the Zealots my way. Not to mention the stress over my own personal well-being. I may be the best at what I do, but I'm not stupid. The Zealots do have the element of unpredictability.
You say they're unpredictable, so you know the danger Sahima and the hostages are in.
I was wondering when your own agenda would come into play. I've worked hard to obtain my position with the Zealots. And like I've told Rasma 1,000 times, I have no reason to believe they're going to hurt my dear cousins, especially Sahima. So, as far as I'm concerned, that information stays with me.
You really think the zealots won't harm the hostages?
Sahima isn't just being held hostage, they're putting her to work. The Zealots aren't stupid. They know what Sahima was involved in. And if they can beat us to that tech, they're going to try.
Can I manipulate? You can't say that with absolute certainty. You are risking lives and House Kadik's integrity.
You make a good point, for an outsider. And perhaps I should take your presence here as a sign. The location you're looking for is Shadow Station Epsilon. It's an old Varun base that they've taken over for themselves. Rasma will know it. Let her tell you the details, seeing as how I'm about to be reassigned.
Why would giving me this information get you reassigned?
Isn't the answer obvious? The Zealots will know the location came from me. All that hard work thrown out the window because someone refuses to undergo negotiations.
Thank you. This information will save lives.
It better.
Whew. So, Rasma,
You must have gotten the location.
Mirek gave me this name, Shadow Station Epsilon, and said you know where to find it.
I figured they wouldn't be completely forthcoming. If my intel is correct, you can find Shadow Station Epsilon in the Badlands, north of Dazra. I can send you the coordinates.
Please do. Why didn't you try to search Shadow Station Epsilon earlier?
Shadow Station Epsilon is one of many Zealot bases scattered throughout. As I mentioned before, I wasn't willing to risk agent lives in order to scout them all.
Anything else you can tell me about Shadow Station Epsilon?
Epsilon was once a research station, with a focus on grav drive manipulation. The Zealots have since vastly expanded upon it. But it makes sense if they intend to use Sahima to their advantage.
What are these shadow stations?
The Shadow Stations were established during the Serpent's Crusade. A series of secret military installations that few knew about, and even fewer may remember. The idea was to have isolated centers focused on different aspects of furthering the Crusade. This way, if one fell, it wouldn't endanger the others.
Those Zealots are about to lose their leverage.
If anything happens to the hostages, they will lose a lot more than leverage.
We will do whatever is necessary to bring Sahima and the others back safely.
Now that we have a rescue mission underway, I'll speak to Merrick about setting up the negotiations. I expect them to be pliable after their last encounter with you. The current plan is to hold them at one of the geothermal power stations. Meet us there when Sahima and the others are safe.
Why this particular power station?
It's a fairly neutral location, and just the right distance from Dazra, so both parties will feel safe. The geothermal stations are also autonomous in nature, so we don't have to worry about unwanted eyes and ears.
Where is this power station?
If memory serves, it's southeast of Shadow Station Epsilon. It shouldn't be too hard to find.
I'll meet you at the power station when everyone is safe.
Good. Serpent willing, your timing will line up. I'll stall the Zealots as long as I can, which shouldn't be an issue.
Sure.
That being said, I'd still appreciate it if you could act quickly. Now, Jamal wants an update before you leave. Just don't let her distract you for too long.
Sure. And that guy, he thought Zealots... Come on, man,
Harbinger, a word before you go.
Sure. I have been with pirates and I captured the pirate leader. Jamal.
Tell me, Harbinger, what do you know about the Zealots?
Religious fanatics who kill those that don't follow the Great Serpent.
An oversimplified observation, but correct nonetheless. The Zealots are widely frowned upon within our society. They're a remnant of the Serpent's Crusade, days we'd like to forget. Has my dear sister given you any history on our house's relations with the Zealots?
Resma said Mirek is working on establishing a relationship with their zealots.
I'm surprised she even mentioned that much. Rasma would have everyone believe she only wishes to keep an eye on the zealots, so the council can make informed decisions. The truth is, she's had this particular group of zealots under her thumb for quite some time.
Thought so.
This is only a problem now because she's lost control. That is the real reason why Rasma hasn't informed the High Council, and I'm sworn to silence.
I
Why are
would
you talking
argue
to me?
that what you describe would be considered treason. And rightly so.
Exactly. Resma lost control of the zealots?
Yes, I'll get to that momentarily.
Tell me more about this situation.
House Kadik already has a reputation for being sympathetic to the zealots. But the truth is far worse. Rasma wants the zealots to back House Kadik, so the balance of power between the noble houses would shift to us. She's been employing them, paying them in supplies that aid their blind crusade.
House Kadik is sympathetic to the zealots?
There are several members who are sympathetic toward them or their cause. Some see beyond their extremist veneer and believe they're just misguided. A very small few may believe Jandar truly was the rightful heir, but none would ever admit it. I'm certain it's the case that members of the other houses feel the same. House Kadik is just the only one who's been exposed for it.
Why would zealots ever back a noble house?
Rasma would believe they want to reintegrate or even reestablish House Malene, and she's a fool for it. The zealots want nothing but the means to carry out their war. Credits, weapons, and ships. And these very supplies would be used to harm not only your people, but our own as well.
I find it hard to believe the High Council isn't aware of any of this.
The council knows nothing of her work with the zealots, and I aim to keep it that way. All elders have their own ambitions. I'm certain that's all they see. What none of us expected was the disaster that is the Scaled Citadel. The aftermath is what allowed the zealots to grab Sahima and the others, flipping the balance of power in their favor. Rasma has lost control and is putting House Kadik's reputation and power at risk.
But I'm going to find Sahima so Rasma can take back control.
And that's what I wish to speak to you about. House Kadik shouldn't be associating with zealots at all, except on an extermination level. But worse, we absolutely cannot be supplying them with ordnance of any kind. We need to cut ties with the zealots altogether.
Why not tell the council and have them put a stop to it?
Exposing this information to the council would condemn not only Rasma, but House Kadik along with her. I have no wish to tarnish our house or ruin my sister. I simply want to show her the error of her ways.
And you expect me to do something about it?
How astute. I want you to put an end to any connections between House Kadik and the Zealots. And while my position won't allow me to be blunt, I'll still make it clear. Should the hostages not survive, Rasma would blame the Zealots and cut all ties.
House Kadik would go to any lengths, it seems.
Come on. How is killing your own family any better than what Rasma is doing?
Those few lives will be nothing compared to the lives the Zealots will take if House Kadik continues to supply them. Sacrificing them would open my sister's eyes, quelling any sympathy and desire to work with the Zealots. Once Rasma no longer sees the Zealots as an ally, the rest will soon follow.
Are you insane?
Perhaps you don't understand. These noble houses have existed for generations. The people look up to us to guide them under the will of the Great Serpent. The fall of a noble house would put everything into question. And with the state Dazra is in right now, I won't allow that to happen.
No, sister. I am staying out of it. You are not gonna make me kill anyone. You are condoning the murder of your own family, sister.
I'm doing what I must to preserve this house. All you need to get is Sahima's research, which she has with her.
No way I'm doing your dirty work.
I see I misjudged you. How unfortunate for us all. Well, should you change your mind, the offer still stands. And Harbinger, this conversation stays between us.
I'll say into that. Babe? Look at the time. Talking to that woman took my time, and she wanted me to kill the people. Right? Insane. Insane. Let me end the episode over here. This is a good site, right? So that's it for this episode. If you are not a sub, please consider subscribing because that is my field. And while you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. If you liked the video, don't forget to press the thumbs up button. And if you did not, well, in that case, you can press the thumbs down button. But I'll highly urge you not to do that. I hope to see you guys in the next episode where we go and find these zealots and rescue the hostages. I'm not going to kill people for these guys. I'm not. So you should be helping me, right? So to do that, please stay with us. I'll see you guys in the next episode tomorrow. I hope to see you guys there. Till then, stay safe, take care, and bye-bye. MUFS signing off.